The stars looked different when you owned them. Commander Zethvol stood on the bridge of his massive warship and watched the cold light of distant suns. Each point of light represented worlds his people had conquered, planets full of alien species, who now served the Velthani hegemony or had been wiped out completely. His ship, the Crimson Dominance, was 3 kilometers long and packed with enough weapons to destroy entire cities. Around him, 299 other ships moved in perfect formation. This was the 47th Strike Fleet, one of the most powerful military forces in the galaxy. For over 2,000 years, no enemy had been able to stop them. Today, they were heading toward a new target. A small yellow star with several planets orbiting around it. The third planet was covered in blue oceans and white clouds. Intelligence reports said it was home to a species called humans. These creatures had only learned to travel between stars less than 100 years ago. Their technology was primitive, their ships were small, and their weapons were weak. Sub-Commander Veltar, Zethvol called out. His second-in-command stepped forward, his gray skin marked with the ritual scars of a veteran warrior. Yes, Commander? What? Do our scouts tell us about the human defenses? Veltar activated his datapad and read from the glowing screen. Very little, sir. They have some space stations around their homeworld and a few dozen patrol ships scattered throughout the system. Their largest warship is only 800 meters long. Our smallest destroyer is bigger than that. Zethvol let out a sound that might have been laughter in his species. 800 meters? My personal shuttle is nearly that size. Yes, sir. Our analysts believe we can conquer the entire system in less than 1 day cycle. The humans will either surrender immediately or be destroyed within hours. The commander walked to the massive viewing window that stretched across the front of his bridge. Space stretched out before them, dark and endless. Soon they would drop out of faster than light, travel and enter the human system. Then the real work would begin. Tell me about their planet, he said. Earth, they call it. Population of about 8 billion. Most live in large cities near water sources. The planet has good minerals, and the atmosphere is suitable for several of our client species. It will make an excellent addition to the hegemony. Zethvol nodded. The Velthani had been expanding their empire for millennia. They had perfected the art of conquest. First, they would demand surrender. Most species gave up immediately when they saw the size of the fleet. Those who resisted were crushed quickly and completely. Any survivors became slaves working in mines or factories on distant worlds. And the humans themselves? What kind of fighters are they? Veltar scrolled through more data. Average physical strength. No natural weapons like claws or poison. They seem to rely entirely on their technology, which is far behind ours. Intelligence suggests they have no experience fighting other species. Their only wars have been against each other. Primitive infighting, Zethvol said with disgust. At least when we conquer them, they will learn what real warfare looks like. The bridge was quiet except for the low hum of the ship's engines and the soft beeping of various instruments. The crew went about their duties with the calm confidence of professionals who had done this many times before. Some checked weapon systems, others monitored the engines. A few studied star charts and plotted courses through the human system. Commander, the navigation officer called out, we will reach the edge of the human system in 30 time units. Good. Signal all ships to prepare for normal space transition. I want us in full battle formation the moment we arrive. Across the fleet, captains received their orders. Gun crews loaded their weapons. Shield generators powered up. Fighter pilots climbed into their small, fast ships and prepared for launch. Within minutes, the entire Armada was ready for war. Zethvol had seen this scene play out dozens of times. The hegemony fleet would arrive at the edge of an enemy system like a storm of metal and fire. The local defenders would panic when they saw how outnumbered they were. Usually, surrender messages started coming in within the first hour. Sir, we are detecting a single human ship in the outer system, the sensor operator reported. It appears to be alone. One ship? Zethvol moved to the sensor station and looked at the readings. Show me. The main screen lit up with an image of the human vessel. It was gray and angular, with no obvious weapon ports visible. Compared to the massive alien warship surrounding it, the human ship looked like a tiny fish swimming near a pack of space whales. 800 meters long, just as intelligence reported, Veltar said. It seems to be drifting between the fifth and fourth planets. Is it moving to intercept us? No, sir. It appears to be waiting. Zethoval studied the image more carefully. The human ship did not look like much. Its hull was smooth and simple. There were no massive gun turrets like those on Valthani warships, no missile pods or energy weapon arrays. It looked more like a cargo transport than a military vessel. Perhaps they plan to surrender immediately, Veltar suggested. Or perhaps they are simply fools, Zethvol replied. Either way, this will be over quickly. The fleet continued its approach. Star charts showed the layout of the human system clearly. The third planet, Earth, was heavily populated and defended by space stations and patrol ships. The fourth planet was red and cold, with some mining operations and research bases. The fifth planet was a giant ball of gas with many moons. Between the fourth and fifth planets, that single human ship continued to wait. "Commander, should we send fighters to destroy it before we proceed to the main planet?" asked the tactical officer. Zethvold considered this. It would be easy enough to wipe out one small ship. But something made him pause. In all his years of conquest, he had never seen defenders position just one vessel to face an entire fleet. It was either incredibly brave or incredibly stupid. "No," he said finally. "Let them make the first move. I want to see what these humans think they can accomplish with one ship against our entire armada." The minutes passed slowly. The alien fleet moved through space like a dark cloud, their ships blotting out the stars. Weapons charged, shields hummed with power. 300 of the galaxy's most advanced warships prepared to demonstrate why the Valthani hegemony was feared across 1,000 worlds. And ahead of them, alone in the vast emptiness of space, a single human ship waited. "Signal all vessels," Zethvol commanded. "We will drop out of faster-than-light travel in 5 time units. All ships are to assume attack formation immediately upon arrival. The conquest of the human system begins now." The order went out across the fleet. Captains acknowledged receipt. Crews made final preparations. In a few minutes, they would face whatever defense the humans could manage. Zethvol looked at the image of the lone human vessel one more time. Soon he would find out if these creatures were wise enough to surrender or foolish enough to fight. Either way, the outcome was certain. The Valthani had never lost a battle. They were not about to start now. The stars grew brighter ahead as the fleet prepared to enter the human system. Whatever happened next, it would be over quickly. The 47th strike. Fleet was about to learn that sometimes the most dangerous enemy is the one you underestimate. Captain Kim Tae-ho stood quietly on the bridge of the Soul's Thunder and watched the alien fleet approach. The main screen showed hundreds of ships moving in perfect formation. Each one was larger than his vessel. Many were 10 times bigger. Together, they represented enough firepower to turn planets into dust. His crew worked at their stations with calm efficiency. No one seemed worried about the impossible odds they faced. Lieutenant Commander Park Ji-won monitored the tactical display, tracking each enemy ship as it moved closer. Communications Officer Lee Da-yoon kept her hands ready over the transmission controls. Weapons Officer Nam Ho-jin checked his systems one final time. "How many ships are we looking at?" Kim asked quietly. 300 confirmed, Captain, Park replied. "The lead vessel is over 3 kilometers long. Our sensors are having trouble getting clear readings on their weapon systems, but they appear heavily armed." "Any attempt at communication yet?" "No, sir. They are maintaining radio silence as they approach." Kim nodded. This was expected. The aliens would want to get into position before making demands. It was a common tactic among aggressive species. "Show overwhelming force first, then offer terms that could not be refused." "Sir," called out Navigator Oh Sung-min from his station, "they will be in optimal firing range in 12 minutes. Understood. All stations, maintain current positions. Do not power up any systems until I give the order." The Soul's Thunder continued to drift silently between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter. To any outside observer, the human ship looked helpless. Its weapons were offline. Its shields were down. It seemed to be waiting for death or surrender. This was exactly what Kim wanted the aliens to think. "Captain," Lee Da-eun announced, "incoming transmission from the lead alien vessel. Put it on screen." The main display flickered and showed the bridge of the alien flagship. A tall, gray-skinned creature with 4 arms and glowing red eyes stared out at them. Behind him, other aliens worked at strange-looking control panels. When the creature spoke, its voice was deep and harsh. The translation system turned its words into clear English. Primitive species of the third planet. I am Commander Zethvol of the Vialthani Hegemony's 47th Strike Fleet. You will surrender your vessel immediately and prepare to be boarded. Your people will serve the hegemony as workers, or they will be eliminated. You have one of your time units called minutes to comply. Kim stepped forward so the alien could see him clearly. He kept his expression calm and professional. This is Captain Kim Tae-ho of the United Earth ship Soul's Thunder. You have entered our space without permission and threatened our people. Under the Human Defense Doctrine, you have 30 seconds to turn around and leave this system. This is your only warning. The alien's face twisted into what might have been amusement. Several of his crew members made sounds that the translation system identified as laughter. One ship against our entire fleet? Your species is even more primitive than our reports indicated. You cannot possibly believe that one small vessel can stand against the might of the hegemony. Kim's expression did not change. 20 seconds. You are either very brave or very stupid human. No matter. Weapons. Target that ship and prepare to— Time's up, Kim said calmly. He turned to his first officer, Commander Choi Min-ho. You may begin when ready. Choi nodded and moved to his command station. All hands, this is the XO. Initiate Omega. Protocol. Repeat, Omega Protocol is now active. Throughout the ship, systems that had been sleeping began to wake up. In engineering spaces deep within the Soul's Thunder, massive generators started spinning up to full power. Weapon systems that had been carefully hidden began extending from the ship's hull. The entire vessel started to change. On the alien flagship, sensor operators began reporting impossible readings. Commander, one of them called out, I am detecting massive energy spikes from the human vessel. Power output is increasing exponentially. Zethvol frowned and looked at his own displays. That cannot be correct. Their technology is primitive. Double-check your instruments. Sir, all sensors confirm. The human ship is generating more power than our entire fleet combined. Impossible. On the Soul's Thunder, Park watched her tactical display update as new systems came online. Captain, all weapon systems are now active. Dimensional fold cannons are charged and ready. Quantum disruptor arrays are online. Temporal displacement torpedoes are armed and targeted. Kim nodded. Signal, all alien vessels. Tell them they have one final chance to leave. Lee opened a communication channel to the entire alien fleet. Attention Vialthani ships. This is your final warning. Leave our system immediately, or face the consequences. The response was immediate. Zethvol's voice filled with rage. You dare threaten us? All ships, open fire! Destroy that insolent vessel! 300 alien warships turned their weapons toward the Soul's Thunder. Plasma cannons, particle beams, missile launchers, and energy weapons of every description prepared to fire. The amount of destructive power aimed at the human ship was enough to crack a moon. Sir, Choi said quietly, they are powering weapons. I can see that. Are our defenses ready? Dimensional barriers are at full strength. All incoming fire will be redirected to null space. Kim watched the alien fleet prepare to attack. Very well. Show them what happens when someone threatens Earth. The alien weapons fired all at once. Thousands of energy beams and projectiles streaked through space toward the lone human vessel. It should have been the end of the Soul's Thunder and everyone aboard. Instead, something impossible happened. The weapons simply disappeared. As each beam or missile approached the human ship, it encountered a barrier that should not exist. Reality itself seemed to bend around the Soul's Thunder. The alien attacks entered a region of twisted space-time and vanished completely, redirected into dimensions that had no names. Report! Zethvol screamed at his sensor operators. Unknown, sir. Our weapons are making contact with some kind of dimensional distortion field. Everything we fire just disappears. How is that possible? I don't know, sir. This technology is completely beyond our understanding. Kim watched the confused alien fleet and allowed himself a small smile. Their turn is over. Now it's ours. Weapons. You may fire when ready. Nam's hands moved over his controls with practiced precision. Aye, sir. Dimensional fold cannon is ready. Target acquired. Fire. The soul's thunder spoke with the voice of annihilation. What emerged from the human ship did not look like a traditional weapon. There was no visible beam or projectile. Instead, space itself seemed to fold in half. The massive alien flagship, the Crimson Dominance, suddenly found itself occupying the same dimensional coordinates as the weapon that had fired at it. For a brief moment, both the ship and the weapon existed in the same space. Then the laws of physics reasserted themselves. The alien vessel simply ceased to exist, its matter scattered across 17 different dimensions simultaneously. Where the 3-kilometer warship had been, there was now only empty space. The alien fleet watched in stunned silence as their flagship vanished without a trace. No explosion, no debris. One moment it was there, the next it was gone. "Impossible," whispered Sub-Commander Veltar from the bridge of another vessel. He was now the senior officer of the fleet. "What kind of weapon can do that?" On the Soul's thunder, Nam calmly targeted the next ship. "Second target acquired, Captain." "Fire at will," Kim replied. The quantum disruptor arrays activated next. Streams of energy that violated several laws of physics lanced out from the human ship. When they touched the alien vessels, molecular bonds simply stopped working. Entire warships dissolved into clouds of free-floating atoms, their crews scattered to the cosmic wind before they had time to understand what was happening. Ship after ship vanished from the alien formation. Some dissolved, others folded out of existence. A few simply stopped being there, erased from reality by weapons that should not be possible. "Retreat!" Veltar screamed into his communications system. "All ships retreat immediately!" But retreat was not an option. The temporal displacement torpedoes were already in flight. Sub-Commander Veltar stared at his tactical display in complete horror. In less than 2 minutes, over 50 ships from his fleet had simply stopped existing. The human vessel that had seemed so small and helpless was destroying warships faster than his sensors could track. "All vessels, emergency retreat," he broadcast to the remaining ships. "Jump to hyperspace immediately." But even as he gave the order, Veltar knew it was too late. The human ship was doing something that should have been impossible. It was firing weapons that traveled through time itself. On the Soul's thunder, weapons officer Nam Ho Jin watched. His temporal displacement torpedoes reached their targets. These weapons did not move through normal space. Instead, they traveled backward through time, striking their targets 3 seconds before they had been fired. The effect was devastating. Alien ships began exploding before the weapons that killed them had even launched. The timeline folded in on itself, creating paradox cascades that erased entire vessels from history. One moment, a Valthani destroyer was there, firing its weapons. The next moment, it had never existed at all. "Captain," Park reported from her tactical station, "enemy fleet strength is down to 60% and falling rapidly." Kim watched the destruction with grim satisfaction. "Continue firing. Target their largest remaining ships first." The Soul's thunder had been designed for exactly this purpose. While the rest of humanity built colonies and trade ships, a small group of scientists and engineers had worked in secret on this vessel. They had taken every piece of alien technology ever discovered and pushed it far beyond what its original creators thought possible. The dimensional fold cannons used principles that the ancient builders had abandoned as too dangerous. The quantum disruptor arrays broke laws of physics that most species considered sacred. The temporal displacement system violated causality itself. Humans, as usual, had simply ignored the warnings and built them anyway. "Sir," communications officer Lee Dayun called out, "we are receiving multiple surrender signals from the remaining alien vessels." "Ignore them," Kim replied coldly. "They came here to enslave or destroy our people. They will face the consequences of that choice." Another wave of impossible weapons fired from the human ship. Space twisted and reality bent as technologies that should not exist rewrote the fundamental rules of the universe. More alien ships vanished, dissolved, or simply stopped being there. Veltar watched his fleet disappear around him and tried to understand what was happening. The humans were supposed to be primitive. Their technology was supposed to be weak. Their ships were supposed to be helpless against the might of the hegemony. Instead, he was watching the most powerful military force in his sector being systematically destroyed by a single vessel. "Sensors!" he shouted at his crew. "Tell me how they are doing this!" The sensor operator's hands shook as he worked his controls. "I cannot explain it, sir. They are using technologies that our science says should be impossible. They are folding space, disrupting quantum fields, and somehow firing weapons through time itself. How advanced are they, really? Sir, I think we have made a terrible mistake. Our intelligence was completely wrong. These humans are not primitive at all. They are using science that is centuries ahead of ours. Veltar felt something he had never experienced before in his long military career. Fear. Real, bone-deep terror of an enemy he could not understand or fight. Can we escape? I am trying, sir. But they seem to be able to hit us no matter where we go. Distance means nothing to their weapons. On the Soul's Thunder, Chief Engineer Oh Sung-min monitored his systems from the engine room deep inside the ship. The quantum matrix that powered their impossible weapons was running at full capacity. Energy levels that would destroy normal matter flowed through specially designed conduits. Captain, he reported over the communication system, all systems are operating within acceptable parameters. We can maintain this level of firepower for approximately 6 more minutes. That should be more than enough, Kim replied. How many targets remain? Park checked her displays. 87 ships, sir. They are attempting to scatter in all directions. Activate the quantum entanglement web. I want every ship that entered our system to understand what happens when you threaten Earth. The final horror of human technology revealed itself. During the first moments of the battle, the Soul's Thunder had been quietly scanning every alien vessel with quantum entanglement beams. These invisible rays had linked every particle in the enemy ships to the human weapons systems. Now, no matter how far the aliens ran or where they tried to hide, they remained connected to their destruction. Quantum web is active, Nam reported. All enemy vessels are now linked. Distance is no longer a factor. The alien ships that had tried to flee found themselves exploding simultaneously, their destruction rippling backward through quantum space, to affect vessels that had not even started to run yet. The very particles that made up their hulls became weapons turned against them. Veltar watched his instruments go crazy as his own ship began to shake apart from the inside. What is happening? He screamed. Sir, our hull is coming apart at the molecular level. Something is causing our atoms to lose cohesion. Impossible. We are light years away from that human ship. Distance does not matter, sir. They have somehow connected us to their weapons through quantum entanglement. Every atom in our ship is now linked to their targeting system. The last thing Veltar saw was his bridge dissolving around him as his ship fell apart, one molecule at a time. Across the battlefield, the same scene played out on dozens of ships. The Velthani fleet, which had seemed so powerful just minutes before, was being erased from existence by weapons that treated distance and time as mere suggestions. On the Soul's Thunder, the crew watched their instruments register the complete destruction of the alien Armada. 300 ships had been reduced to scattered atoms and quantum debris in less than 4 minutes. Sir, Park reported, I am detecting one remaining vessel. It appears to be a small scout ship that was hanging back from the main fleet. Kim studied the tactical display. One tiny alien ship remained, drifting alone in space, surrounded by the expanding debris clouds that had once been its fleetmates. Are they trying to flee? No, sir. The ship appears to be dead in space. No engine activity, no weapon signatures. I think they are just stunned. Good. Leave them alive. Someone needs to carry the message back to their people. Commander Choi looked at his captain. Sir, should we prepare a transmission? Yes. Open a channel to that scout ship. It is time to make sure the galaxy understands what happens when someone threatens humanity. Lee worked her controls and established contact with the surviving alien vessel. On the main screen, a terrified Velthani face appeared. The creature's eyes were wide with shock and its hands were shaking. I am Captain Kim Tae-ho of the United Earth ship Soul's Thunder, Kim began, his voice calm and professional. Your fleet came to our system planning to enslave or exterminate my people. This was a mistake. The alien could barely speak. Your species, how is this possible? Our intelligence said you were primitive. Your intelligence was correct about one thing. We are a young species. We have only been traveling between stars for 100 years. But you made a critical error in your analysis. Kim stepped closer to the camera, his expression becoming harder. You confused youth with weakness. You assumed that because we are new to space, We must be helpless. You thought our small ships meant we were not dangerous? You were wrong about all of it. The alien's voice cracked with fear. What are you? We are humans, and we have spent our entire history learning how to fight. Before we ever left our planet, we had already mastered the art of war. When we found alien technology scattered around our solar system, we did not just study it. We improved it. We made it deadlier. Kim's smile was cold and predatory. Every ship in our fleet carries weapons that your scientists would declare impossible. Every human colony is defended by technology that breaks your understanding of how the universe works. We do not build our tools to be safe or reasonable. We build them to win. The alien stared at him in complete terror. What do you want? You will return to your people and deliver this message. Earth and all human colonies are not for conquest. Any fleet that approaches our space with hostile intent will meet the same fate as your armada. We offer trade and friendship to those who come in peace. Kim's expression became utterly merciless. But to those who come with weapons and threats, we offer only complete destruction. Tell your leaders that humanity does not stay conquered. Tell them that we do not forgive threats against our people. Tell them that the next time they underestimate us, there might not be any survivors to carry the message home. The transmission ended. The scout ship's engines came to life and it fled toward the edge of the system, carrying news that would reshape the balance of power across the galaxy. The Soul's Thunder began folding its weapons back into their hidden positions, once again taking on the appearance of a simple, harmless vessel. The bridge of the Soul's Thunder was quiet as the last alien ship disappeared into hyperspace. Where moments before there had been 300 enemy warships, now there was only drifting debris and the fading energy signatures of impossible weapons. Captain Kim Tae-ho stood at the center of his bridge and surveyed the aftermath of the battle. His crew worked efficiently at their stations, powering down weapons systems and returning the ship to its normal configuration. To anyone watching from a distance, the Soul's Thunder once again looked like nothing more than a simple patrol vessel. Damage report, Kim asked his first officer. Commander Choi Min-ho checked his displays. No damage to report, sir. All systems performed within normal parameters. The dimensional barriers held at 100% efficiency throughout. The engagement. Casualties? None, sir. The alien weapons never reached us. Kim nodded. This had gone exactly as planned. For months, Earth's military leaders had known this confrontation was coming. The Valthani hegemony had been expanding toward human space for years, conquering every species in their path. It was only a matter of time before they reached the Sol system. The question had been how to respond. Earth's regular fleet was powerful by human standards, but it would have been no match for a full Valthani armada. 300 ships was more than the entire human navy could field at once. So they had built something different, something that looked weak, but was actually the most dangerous weapon ever created. Lieutenant Commander Park, Kim called to his tactical officer. Begin collecting data on the alien weapons systems. I want a full analysis of their technology for the intelligence teams. Already in progress, sir, Park Ji-won replied. Our sensors recorded everything during the battle. The quantum analysis computers are processing the data now. Kim turned to his communications officer. Lee, send a message to Earth Command. Tell them the Sol system remains secure. Include our combat logs and sensor data. Yes, sir, Lee Da-eun responded, her fingers flying over her controls. Message transmitted via quantum relay. Earth Command should receive it within 30 minutes. The captain walked to the main viewing window and looked out at the debris field. Pieces of alien ships drifted slowly through space, catching the light of the distant sun. Each fragment represented hundreds or thousands of lives that had been ended in just a few minutes. Kim felt no guilt about what had happened. The aliens had come to his home system with the intention of enslaving or killing every human alive. They had made their choice when they refused to leave peacefully. The destruction of their fleet was simply the consequence of that choice. Sir, Chief Engineer Oh Sung-min's voice came over the communication system from the engine room. All weapon systems have been safely powered down. The quantum matrix is stable and cooling. We are ready to return to patrol status. Understood. How? Long until we can fight again if needed? Give me 6 hours to run full diagnostics and recharge the system, and we will be ready for anything. Kim smiled. 6 hours to reload weapons that could destroy entire fleets. The aliens who might be watching from hidden sensors would never understand how quickly humans could prepare for war. "Captain," Navigator Oh Sung-min called from his station. "We are receiving a priority transmission from Earth. Admiral Yoon wants to speak with you directly. Put her through to my ready room. Commander Choi, you have the bridge." Kim walked to his private office just off the main bridge. The room was small and simple, decorated only with a few personal items and a large viewing window that showed the stars outside. He activated the communication system, and Admiral Yoon's face appeared on the screen. "Captain Kim," she said with a slight smile. "I take it the demonstration was successful?" "Yes, ma'am. The alien fleet has been completely destroyed. One scout ship was allowed to escape to carry word back to their people." "Good. How did our new weapons perform?" Kim thought back to the battle. "Better than expected, Admiral. The dimensional fold cannons worked perfectly. The quantum disruptors exceeded their design specifications. The temporal displacement torpedoes created paradox cascades that were both precise and devastating. And the quantum entanglement web? Flawless. Once we established the connections, distance became meaningless. We could have destroyed ships on the other side of the galaxy if needed." Admiral Yoon leaned back in her chair. "Excellent. The other project leaders will be very pleased. How long do you think it will take for word of this to spread?" Kim considered the question. "The surviving scout will reach Valthani space in about 2 weeks. From there, news of our capabilities will spread throughout their empire and to other species within a few months. By the end of the year, every major power in this part of the galaxy will know that humans are not to be underestimated. That is exactly what we want. For too long, we have been seen as weak newcomers who can be pushed around or ignored. Now, they will know the truth." The Admiral's expression became more serious. "Captain, what you and your crew accomplished today will change everything. The balance of power in this region just shifted dramatically. Other species will have to reconsider their plans for expansion into human space. What are our orders going forward? Continue your patrol of the outer system. Watch for any other probe fleets or advanced scouts. If anyone else wants to test our defenses, show them the same lesson you showed the Velthani." "Understood, ma'am." "Oh, and Captain, tell your crew they just prevented a war that could have cost millions of human lives. What they did today was necessary and heroic." The transmission ended, leaving Kim alone with his thoughts. Through his window, he could see the debris field slowly expanding as pieces of alien ships drifted away from each other. Soon, there would be nothing left but metal fragments and fading energy signatures. He returned to the bridge to find his crew finishing their post-battle procedures. Weapons systems had been safely shut down and hidden again. The ship's external appearance had returned to normal. To anyone who might be watching, the Soul's Thunder looked exactly like what it pretended to be, a simple patrol vessel on routine duties. "Sir," Park reported, "our analysis of the alien technology is complete. Their weapons were approximately 50 years behind our current systems. Their shields would not have been effective against our standard armaments, let alone our experimental weapons. What about their ships themselves? Heavily armored, but using outdated materials. Their largest vessels were impressive in size, but not particularly advanced. It appears they have been relying on numbers and intimidation rather than technological superiority." Kim was not surprised. Most of the older galactic civilizations had become comfortable with their existing technology. They improved slowly and carefully, making small advances over many years. Humans, on the other hand, had a talent for taking existing ideas and pushing them to dangerous extremes. "Any sign of other enemy forces in the system?" "No, sir. Long range. Sensors show no additional ships within 50 light years. If the Vilethani had backup fleets, they are not close enough to respond quickly." "Good. Set course for the asteroid belt. We will resume normal patrol duties while we wait to see if anyone else wants to test our resolve." The Soul's Thunder turned away from the debris field and began moving toward the inner system. Behind them, the last traces of the Vilethani fleet continued to drift in the cold vacuum of space. In a few hours, automated cleanup ships from Earth would arrive to collect the debris for analysis. Scientists would study the alien technology, and engineers would look for ways to improve human weapons even further. Nothing would be wasted. Kim sat in his command chair and watched the stars ahead. Somewhere out there, other alien empires were making plans. Some might be considering attacks on human colonies. Others might be thinking about forming alliances. All of them would soon learn about what happened to the 47th Strike Fleet. "Captain," Lee said from her station, "we are receiving routine traffic from the inner system. Colony ships, cargo transports, passenger liners, everything appears normal. As it should be. The people of Earth will sleep safely tonight because of what we accomplished here." Commander Choi moved to stand beside his captain's chair. "Sir, do you think this will really discourage other attacks?" Kim considered the question carefully. "Some species will be smart enough to leave us alone. Others will convince themselves that we were lucky or that their technology is superior. Those will come looking for a fight. And when they do? When they do, we will be ready. This ship is just the beginning. Earth has 20 more vessels like this one under construction. In 5 years, we will have a fleet that can protect every human colony in known space." Choi smiled. "I almost feel sorry for the next aliens who decide to threaten us." "Do not feel sorry for them," Kim replied. "Feel sorry for their families who will never see them again." 2 weeks later, the surviving Velthani scout ship emerged from hyperspace near the edge of hegemony territory. Pilot Kethmar had not slept since escaping the human system. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw his fleet disappearing around him, 300 warships reduced to nothing by a single human vessel. The ship's communication system crackled to life as traffic control contacted him. "Scout Vessel Wandering Eye, this is Hegemony Station 7. You are early. Report your status." Kethmar's hands shook as he activated his transmitter. "This is Pilot Kethmar of the 47th Strike Fleet. I need immediate contact with Fleet Command. Priority 1 emergency." There was a pause. "Pilot, our records show the 47th Fleet is not due to return for another 6 cycles. Where is Commander Zethvol?" "Dead. They are all dead. I am the only survivor." Another pause, longer this time. "Stand by, pilot. You are being transferred to military control." Within minutes, Kethmar found himself speaking directly to Admiral Vorthek, the highest-ranking military officer in this sector. The Admiral's scarred face appeared on his screen, eyes narrowed with suspicion. "Pilot Kethmar, explain yourself. Where is the 47th Strike Fleet?" "Destroyed, sir. Completely destroyed. 300 ships gone in less than 4 minutes." "That is impossible. What enemy force could accomplish such a thing?" Kethmar took a shaking breath. "1 ship, sir. A single human vessel." The Admiral's expression changed from suspicion to disbelief. "1 ship destroyed an entire strike fleet? Pilot, have you suffered head trauma? Are your life support systems functioning properly?" "Sir, I know how it sounds. But I was there. I saw it happen. The humans have weapons that should not exist. They can fold space, fire through time, and make distance meaningless. They destroyed our flagship by making it occupy the same space as their weapon. They dissolved entire ships at the molecular level. They erased vessels from the timeline itself." Admiral Vorthek stared at him in silence for a long moment. "Report to medical immediately upon docking. You will undergo full psychological evaluation." "Sir, with respect, I am not insane. The humans sent a message. They said any fleet that approaches their space with hostile intent will be destroyed. They said they do not stay conquered, and they do not forgive threats against their people. We conquered hundreds of species. None of them had technology capable of what you describe." "The humans are different, sir. Our intelligence was completely wrong about them. They are not primitive. They are not weak. They are the most dangerous species I have ever encountered." The transmission ended with Admiral Vorthek ordering Kethmar to dock immediately and submit to medical examination. But deep down, the Admiral knew the pilot was telling the truth. There was something in his eyes, a terror that could not be faked. Within hours, news of the 47th Fleet's destruction spread throughout hegemony space. At first, most commanders refused to believe it. But when long-range sensors confirmed that the fleet was not returning, and when other scouts reported a massive debris field in the human system, the truth became undeniable. The humans had destroyed the most powerful strike fleet in hegemony history using a single ship. 3 months after the battle, the news reached other alien civilizations. The Centauri Collective, the Morvac Empire, and the Stellar Confederation all received reports of what had happened in the Sol system. Each reacted differently. The Centauri, who had been planning their own expansion toward human space, immediately canceled all military operations in that direction. Their leaders decided that any species capable of such destruction was best left alone. The Morvac Empire, proud and aggressive by nature, declared the reports to be impossible propaganda. They began preparing their own fleet to test human defenses and prove their superiority. The Stellar Confederation, more cautious and diplomatic, sent messages to Earth requesting formal negotiations. They offered trade agreements and mutual defense pacts, hoping to avoid conflict entirely. On Earth, military leaders watched these reactions with satisfaction. The demonstration had achieved exactly what they had hoped. Some enemies had been deterred. Others had revealed their intentions. All of them now knew that humanity was not helpless. In the months that followed, more alien probe fleets tested human defenses. The Kralix Dominion sent a squadron of 12 ships to investigate human technology. They were destroyed by the patrol vessel UES Busan's Pride in 37 seconds. The Thektar Horde launched a surprise attack on a human mining colony, expecting easy conquest. They found the colony defended by the UES Daigu's hammer, which proceeded to demonstrate that humans had installed their impossible weapons on defensive platforms as well. 200 Thektar ships became expanding clouds of atoms. Each victory sent the same message across the galaxy. Humans were not to be underestimated, threatened, or attacked. Species that came in peace were welcomed as trading partners and allies. Those that came with weapons were destroyed without mercy. 2 years after the destruction of the 47th Strike Fleet, Captain Kim Tae-ho received a new assignment. The Sol's Thunder was being recalled to Earth for upgrades and improvements. Newer, more advanced ships were taking over patrol duties in the outer system. As his ship approached Earth orbit, Kim looked out at the planet that had given birth to his species. Blue oceans, white clouds, and green continents exactly as they had always been. But around the planet, space was filled with the signs of human expansion. Massive shipyards orbited the moon, building new vessels with weapons that pushed the boundaries of physics even further. Space stations monitored traffic from hundreds of alien species who now came to trade rather than conquer. Defense platforms armed with dimensional cannons watched the approaches to the system. "Captain," Communications Officer Lee reported, "Earth Command is hailing us. Put them through." Admiral Yoon's face appeared on the main screen, smiling broadly. "Welcome home, Captain. You and your crew have earned some well-deserved rest." "Thank you, ma'am. It feels good to be back. Your mission was a complete success. In the past 2 years, we have established trade relationships with 47 alien species. Military threats against human colonies have dropped by 90%. The galaxy now knows that we are a force to be respected." Kim nodded. "What are our new orders?" "The Sol's Thunder will undergo a complete refit with our latest technology. When you launch again, you will be leading a squadron of similar vessels on deep space patrol. Your mission will be to make contact with species beyond our current borders and demonstrate that humans are ready to take their place as a major galactic power." "Understood, ma'am." "Captain, you asked me once what we wanted to accomplish. We wanted to change how the galaxy sees humanity. No more will we be dismissed as primitive newcomers. No more will other species think they can push us around or ignore our interests. You made that possible." The transmission ended, and Kim turned to his crew. They had served together for over 3 years, facing impossible odds and achieving victories that seemed like fantasy. Together, they had changed the course of human history. "All hands," he announced over the ship's communication system. "This is the captain. We are home. Our mission is complete. In a few hours, you will be reunited with your families and friends. Take time to rest, to celebrate, and to remember what we accomplished together." He paused, looking around the bridge at the men and women who had followed him into battle against overwhelming odds. "We faced the greatest military force our species had ever encountered. We were outnumbered 300 to 1. The enemy came to our home system, planning to enslave or destroy everyone we cared about, and we sent them home with a message they will never forget." Kim's voice grew stronger. "We showed the galaxy that humans do not surrender. We do not bow to threats. We do not accept conquest. We stand together, we fight together, and we win together. The age of humanity hiding in the shadows is over. From this day forward, we take our place among the stars as equals to any species, superior to most and afraid of none. The Soul's Thunder docked at Earth Station 1 to the cheers of thousands of people who had gathered to welcome them home. As the crew disembarked, they were greeted as heroes who had saved not just Earth, but the future of human civilization. In the years that followed, the story of the Soul's Thunder became legend. Parents told it to their children. Military academies taught it as the perfect example of human ingenuity and determination. Alien species whispered it as a warning to those who might consider threatening humanity. The ship itself was preserved as a monument to human achievement. Visitors from across the galaxy came to see the vessel that had changed the balance of power in space. Many left with a new understanding of what humans were capable of when threatened. But the most important legacy was not the ship or the weapons or even the victory itself. It was the message that echoed across the stars, carried by every species, that had witnessed human determination. Humanity does not stay conquered. They do not forgive threats against their people. They do not bow to superior numbers or advanced technology. They stand together. They fight together, and when they are done, their enemies are nothing but scattered atoms drifting in the cold vacuum of space. The galaxy had learned to respect the species from the small blue planet.